Hello everybody, my name's Brett. I'm here to guide you through a 20-minute yoga stretching sequence for runners. So whether you just finished up a run, you're sore from a run from yesterday, or you're a regular runner, want to just keep nice and fresh, this is a 20-minute sequence that'll help you out. So I have a little block here, but if you would like to use a blanket, a pillow, a cushion, it's really nice to help us through practice. And also, I just want to note that if any of the stretches or poses don't feel good, please keep safety first, and you can modify or skip any poses and rejoin whenever you're ready. So we'll get started on our backs. Coming onto our backs and bringing the bottoms of the feet together with the knees wide. This is a hip opener here, the inner hips. And if this doesn't feel good, you can just stretch the legs out long. And if it feels okay with the arms, you bend the elbows and you let the forearms and tops of the hands gently rest on the ground. Take some nice big deep breaths here. We want to nourish those muscles that we put a lot of energy and effort into while running. So those big breaths really help. And we'll stay here for just a little bit longer, trying to release through the hips. And when you're ready, bringing the hands to the legs, the knees come up. You give yourself a nice little squeeze here, bringing the knees into the chest. And you can pull the knees a little closer if you like, whatever feels good. And on your next exhale, you're going to extend the right leg long. Let the right foot come down on the ground. Keep the left knee into the chest. And make circles with the left ankle here in one direction. And then the other, loosening up those ankles. And then we're going to bring the left knee to the left about 6 inches, and then bring it back across the body to the right about 4 to 6 inches. 2 more times, as much as feels good, bring the left knee out to the side, and then bring it back across center towards the right. 1 more time, bringing the left knee out, and then bringing the left knee in. This is just bringing a little mobility into that left hip. And now you're bringing the right knee up, so both knees are squeezing into the chest here. And then let's do the other side. So extend the left leg long and make circles with the right ankle. The right knee is into the chest. And switch directions on those right ankle circles. And now we're going to bring the right knee out to the side, 4 to 6 inches, as much as feels good. And then bring the right knee back through center and to the left, about 4 to 6 inches. Back to the right. And then back through center and to the left. 1 more time. Just move it out to the right as much as feels good. And back through center and to the left as much as feels good. Now bring both knees into the chest. Give yourself that nice squeeze. And as you exhale, release the knees. We're coming into happy baby. So the bottoms of the feet face the sky. Knees are bent and the hands either come behind the knees, or if it feels okay, you can bring the hands to the bottoms of the feet and gently pull the legs down with every exhale. So it's a nice stretch in the backs of the legs here, a little bit in the hips. If you like, you can kind of roll side to side, maybe massaging the back a bit. But this should feel nice. So if it doesn't feel good grabbing the bottoms of the feet, then go back to the backs of the knees. Then we're going to release the feet down. Knees are bent, feet flat on the ground, coming into figure 4 on the right side. So you're going to bring the right foot off the ground and onto the left thigh. So the right ankle is on the left thigh, making a figure 4 shape. Flex through the right foot and direct the right knee forward. Now, if it feels okay, you're going to bring the left foot off the ground, grabbing behind the left leg and gently pulling it towards you. Should get a deeper stretch in the right hip here. Keep that right foot flexed. And remember those big, deep breaths, nourishing those muscles that we use so much while we're running. Almost done here. Keep directing the right knee forward. And as you exhale, release. Both feet come down flat on the ground. Let's switch sides. So we're bringing that left ankle up through the right thigh, making a figure 4 shape here. Flex through the left foot. Direct the left knee forward. And you can stay here if it feels like a good stretch in the left hip. Or you can bring the right foot off the ground, grabbing behind the right leg and pulling it towards you. Keep directing that left knee forward. And keep taking those nice, big, smooth, deep breaths, nourishing those muscles. And don't forget to release out on the exhales too. It's good to release some tension here. On your next exhale, you bring both feet down. And we're going to come up to a seated position, so you can either roll onto your side and come up, or if you would like to rock and roll forward and back, massaging out the back a little bit. It can be a little fun, rocking forward and back. Just 1 or 2 more times. And we meet in a nice seated position. And seated, you can sit on your blanket, your block, your cushion, or you can also sit in a chair. I've got my block. And once you get to a seated position, sit up tall, bring the hands to the lap or the knees. And we'll start with 3 shoulder shrugs. So on your next inhale, bring those shoulders up towards the ears. And then squeeze the shoulder blades and then release the shoulders down the back. Let's do 2 more. So as you inhale, those shoulders come up towards the ears. And then the shoulder blades come together on the back and then you release down. 1 more big shoulder shrug here. So bring those shoulders up towards the ears. Shoulder blades come together on the back and then float the shoulders down. Keeping the hands where they are, doing 3 seated cat-cows. So on the inhale, shine the heart forward, a slight squeeze of the shoulder blades on the back. And on the exhale, you drop the head and round through the spine here. 2 more. As you inhale, shine the heart forward, slight squeeze of the shoulder blades. Exhale, dropping the head and rounding through the spine. Last one. Keep the breath nice and big as you inhale, shine that heart forward, squeezing the shoulder blades. As you exhale, drop the head and round through the spine here. Now coming back up, sitting up nice and tall. And then transitioning onto tabletop pose. So tabletop is also called hands and knees. Essentially, it's just where your hands are right under your shoulders, your knees are under your hips. And push through all those fingers. And then we're tucking the toes here. And we're going to shift back into downward facing dog. So the hips shift back, but keep a big bend in the knees here. We're trying to stretch through the backs of the legs, but don't be so hard at first. We're going to have a couple rounds of this down dog, so stay nice and bent through the knees. The heels are directed towards the ground. Feel that nice stretch in the back of the legs, but be gentle here. Keep the breath nice and deep. And on your next exhale, bring the knees back down. Go back to tabletop. Hands right under the shoulders, knees right under the hips. Take a deep breath or 2. And again, tucking those toes. We're going to shift back into downward facing dog again, so the hips shift back. This time, pedal through the feet. So bend the right knee as the left heel comes down. And then switch, bend the left knee, right heel down. 2 more to each side, pedaling through the feet here. Stretching through the calves, which if you're a runner and you run a lot on your toes, those calves get a lot of work. So this should feel really nice. Just a little longer. And coming back to down dog and then bringing those knees back down, resting in our tabletop pose. Keeping the breath nice and deep, nourishing those muscles and releasing tension and toxicity with those exhales. All right, let's come into down dog again. So tuck those toes. The hip shift back, and this time we're going to have a really big bend in the knees. So your knees come like 8 to 12 inches away from the ground, or maybe lower. This is a nice stretch in the feet and the toes. So the toes are tucked in down dog. And then come back, straighten through the legs as much as you can before bringing the knees down and resting in tabletop position. All right, one more down dog for now. So when you're ready, tuck your toes, push through all your fingers, shift the hips back, you're in down dog. And then on your next inhale, you're going to raise the right leg high. Try to keep it straight. This is a stretch in the back of the left leg, so keep it there just a little bit longer. And then as you exhale, you're going to step the right foot between the hands. It may take some time getting there. Bring that back knee down. The hands frame the right foot. This is called the runner's lunge. So of course we're going to put it into the sequence. This should be a nice stretch on the front of the left hip. And then you're going to tuck the back toes, come off the back knee. And on the next inhale, you're going to raise the right hand high. And you can keep the back knee down if you like, if this doesn't feel good, but you're twisting in this lunge shape. So the right hand reaches high. You're bending through the right knee. A lot of times this feels good in the right glute. Bring the right hand down so the hands frame the foot. The back knee comes down too. We're back in that runner's lunge with the knee down. And we're coming into half split, which sounds really intimidating, but it doesn't have to be. So you're going to shift the hips back, straightening through the right leg as much as you can, but you can have a nice bend in the right knee. Flex through the right foot and bow over that right leg. So you're just stretching through the back of the right leg here. Keeping the back nice and flat here. Don't really let the head drop and the spine round. No need to do that. And we're going to flow a little bit. So as you inhale, bend through the right knee, shift forward to your runner's lunge. And as you exhale, back into your half split. Straighten through the right leg as the hips shift back. 2 more times. Inhaling, bending through the right knee, low runner's lunge. And as you exhale, shift the hips back, straighten through the right leg as much as feels good. Here we go. Let's do it again. As you inhale, bend through that right knee. The hands frame the right foot. And as you exhale, straighten through the right leg as much as you can. Half split. And now, bending through the right knee, coming into that runner's lunge. Okay, now we need to come up off the back foot. Off the back knee. Drop the back heel. And then bring the right toes to face the same direction as the left. Straighten through the legs as much as feels good and fold forward here. This is a wide-legged forward fold. Letting the head drop down. Bring the hands to the ground. And there should be a nice stretch on the backs of the legs, but also in the IT bands that run along the outsides of the legs here. So make sure you're pushing into the outside edges of the feet. And on your next inhale, come up halfway lift. Then we're going to come back into our runner's lunge. So the right toes face back forward. You're coming onto the back toes. Hands frame the front foot, the right foot. And we're staying in this runner's lunge with our back knee off the ground. And then we're stepping that right foot back to meet the left and the hip shift back into downward facing dog. On your next inhale, raise the left leg high into your 3-legged dog. It's a nice stretch in the back of the right leg, so keep the left foot reaching high. And as you exhale, stepping the left foot between the hands. We're essentially doing the same thing, the same sequence, just on the other side. So here we are, that back knee is down, the hands frame the left foot. It's a nice stretch in the front of the right hip in your runner's lunge with back knee down. Now, if you like, you can keep the back knee down, but if it's okay, bring it up. And then reach that left hand high to the sky in our twisting lunge here. Left hand reaches up, right hand is down on the ground. Should be a little stretch in the left glute, like the left butt muscles here. On your next exhale, the left hand comes down, bring the back knee down. And we're coming into that half split, so we're going to shift the hips back as we start to straighten as much as possible through the left leg, but you can have a nice bend in the knee. Flex through the left foot as you bow over that left leg, stretching through the back of that leg. Keep the breath smooth and deep, nourishing those muscles and releasing tension on the exhales. Now moving through our flows here. When you're ready, on your next inhale, you bend through the front knee as you walk your hands to frame the front foot, low runner's lunge. And as you exhale, you straighten through the left leg as much as you can and fold over the leg. Inhaling, bending the left knee, walking the hands to frame the foot. Exhale, walking the hands back a little, straightening through the left leg. Inhale, bend through the knee, walk the hands forward, low runner's lunge. And then we're going to tuck through the back toes, back knee off the ground. And then drop the back heel. And then bring the left toes to face the same direction as the right. Straighten through the legs as much as possible and fold forward in this wide-legged forward fold, releasing the head down. And grounding through the outside edges of the feet to get a stretch in the IT bands. This stretch should feel nice. Maybe a little intense, but should feel really good, releasing the back of the legs. And on your next inhale, come halfway up. And we're going to toe heel the feet in. They're still going to be much wider than your hips here, but each foot comes in about 4 to 6 inches, 8 to 12 centimeters. The toes face out, and the hips sit down either on a block, a blanket, a pillow, or if you want to hover them, you can. It's just a little more intense. The palms of the hands come together, the elbows come to the insides of the knees in a yogi squat. Opening through the inner hips here, using the elbows to help open up through the hips. And if this doesn't feel good, then you can just sit down, chill out, and rejoin when we move to the next pose. Speaking of moving to the next pose, let's do it. So release the hands, they come down. Straighten through the legs as the hips come up, you're folding forward. And then we're going to toe heel the feet in, they're under the hips or maybe a little wider. Bring or clasp opposite elbows, sway side to side and ragdoll. This is a nice forward fold, swaying side to side, releasing the head, the neck, the jaw. Releasing the hands down, inhaling, come all the way up to standing. And we just have one final pose on each side. It's a standing balance pose, but it also stretches out the quads. So you're going to stand up nice and tall. Bring the right foot off the ground, bend through the right knee, and the right hand is going to grab the inside of the right foot. You can stay here. This is a nice stretch on the right quad. If you want to continue into our dancer pose, you're going to push that right foot into the hand. And then you're going to reach the left hand forward. So you're balancing on the left foot, pushing the top of the right foot into the right hand, reaching the left hand forward. And as you exhale, release. Coming to the other side, last pose. Bringing the left foot off the ground, grabbing the inside of the left foot with the left hand. You can stay here. It's a nice stretch in the left quad. If you want to continue on with dancer pose, you push that left foot into the left hand. You reach the right hand forward. And naturally the torso will be directed a little forward here. Standing on the right leg just a little longer. And as you exhale, release, come back into standing. And beautiful work. You made it. So to seal the practice, we'll bring the hands to prayer. And you can bow the head if you like, thanking yourself for taking the time to stretch out your body and keep it fresh, keep on running, keep that cardio good. Hope to see you next time.